So we just finished Desert Treasure 2 yesterday. So far we've pretty much completed everything except for a night at the theater for the difficult quests. And I gotta say, that quest was fairly difficult. And I'm glad Desert Treasure 2 was kinda hard. I wanted to talk about it for a little bit. Coming back to Vorkath made me have an appreciation for the bosses out of Desert Treasure 2. Cause now it feels like he's too simple of a boss fight. He pretty much feels like a level of difficulty as the Duke does out of the new bosses. If anything, even easier now. But I really appreciated Desert Treasure 2 for a couple of reasons. Number one being, I'm only about an average skill player, so if I can complete the quest using mid-tier gear, pretty much anybody should be able to. As long as they're willing to put in the effort to learn the new mechanics of the bosses. Not even anything crazy new and difficult, just a matter of learning what their fight is about. But if you do the quest, not necessarily going in the order of the quest guide, but if you follow your own pattern of doing the Duke fight, moving on to Vardorvis, then going on to the Whisperer and finishing off with the Leviathan, you'll have a pattern of bosses that actually are able to not only ease you into the difficulty of higher tier bossing, but you get to learn harder mechanics in an easier pattern rather than jumping into the hardest one as the second boss. Not only that, but it makes coming back to the other money printer bosses feel much simpler and much more relaxed, so completing the quest and getting a quest cape back would open up a whole new realm of the game to those who are not used to the PVM side of it. But talking of the money printing bosses brings me to the other point. The mechanics of the new bosses are actually good for their drop tables. More so than it is back to the next. Since they drop lower tier items, it actually revalues skilling resources. And even though they're heavily botted, I've already seen a slight increase in items. Mostly because people are now fighting the newer bosses and they're not over at the resource dropping ones. So since less higher tier resources are coming in, skilling has gone up a bit. Not only that, but the main thing people have been griping about is the ring drop chance, without even taking into factoring the Virtus robes as well as the ingots. Ignore that, Death, I'm multitasking. But the point being, that even though you're not going to be heavily profiting off of every kill, you eventually will be making enough money to make the boss worthwhile. You'll just have to go through resources before seeing your money drop. Main complaint I've seen out of the quest is partially due to the Duke's fight of making a potion every time. Currently I'm going for his tablet to make the travel to him as well as the Muspa faster, so I'm doing the long run each time as well as having an 8-ish minute kill. But after a few post-quest KC, it's really not that bad. It takes 1 minute and 2 inventory slots, as well as 2 more for the items needed. I just really don't understand the complaint with that part of his fight. It's not that horrible. Also in the same group as most people with the new locations that were introduced with the quest, not only are they designed really nicely, the music that accents with them is also very well done, as well as the different audio sounds that the bosses use on their attack make it easier to distinguish. So if you go through Desert Treasure 2, if you haven't already, make sure to play with music turned on. This was about the first time I really played through the game with audio, and I'm very glad I did. It makes me want to explore more of the game's music than I already have been doing, finding background music for my videos. I don't necessarily chase best in slot items, so I'm not really trying to camp the bosses right now. I'm still leveling up my own skills, mostly focusing on Slayer still at the moment while we're in the groove, but I just wanted to give an appreciation overall for the whole quest. It's seeming like everything that we've been seeing since Beneath Cursed Sands and Raids 3 has been of a higher quality than we're used to seeing in Old School, whether it be the overall quest lore, quest experience, or the music that accompanies them. I think it's been being knocked out of the park. All in all, I think I would give the quest an A. The only thing that's missing to make it an A+ quest is that the boss difficulty is slightly high enough to make it a little bit more difficult than the average RuneScape player is going to be used to, at least in Old School. But I think it's a good thing because it's going to be making everybody's skill level have to increase, and hopefully they'll be able to bring more engaging content. Plus we still have things like Fasani's Nightmare, and you can solo Theater of Blood as well as high-level Tombs of Amascut, and the Inferno if you want difficult challenges for yourself. In the end, I'm just excited to see not only where the Majorok questline is going to go, but also what our team is able to bring us as quests in the future. And again, the drop mechanics for the new bosses aren't that bad. Quit whining about it, it'll be okay. I'll link below the playlist of my live playthrough of Desert Treasure 2, so check that out if you're interested, and have a good day, you guys.